YRJ really is juvenile law in Oregon. The juvenile code sprang from litigation that was initiated by Julie McFarlane, and the organization has worked tirelessly to ensure that the law protects the rights of children and families as it evolves over time.
Well, I first heard of the Juvenile Rights Project in 1978. I was just out of law school. Those early people at JRP were living on grant money, existing pretty much from attorney's fees award to attorney's fees award until they got one of their contracts to start doing representation of kids in juvenile court. That part of the office is really the part that today has formed Youth Rights and Justice into the really influential and really wonderful group of attorneys who are out there representing kids and their families in juvenile court all the time. A new lawyer got hired and came into the office, wild-haired and, pure 1978 kind of activist lawyer, Alan Bailey. And Alan was carrying cardboard boxes from his car into the office. Cardboard boxes that I later discovered contained all the briefs and the pleadings in the Gary H. lawsuit. The Gary H. case involved the investigation that office had been doing and their concern and their litigation over the constitutional rights of juveniles who are being held in segregation and isolation, as well as other conditions in that prison system.
I'll tell you what I tell most people about what really inspired me to do the work that I do now and the work that I did at JRP, and that was on the helpline. We would get these letters from children who were in McLaren Youth Correctional Facility, scrawled in handwriting, and they would say that they were in solitary confinement for months on end, months. And I would take them to Julie McFarlane, who was my supervisor, and we would write a letter together, instructing them to use the grievance process. And within a week of receiving the letter, I would call them, and they would be out of solitary confinement. And it was an extraordinarily amazing experience to have that power to really affect change in the life of somebody who was extraordinarily vulnerable. I don't think there's anybody more vulnerable than a child in solitary confinement. The two things I'm most proud of from my work at YRJ are the clemency applications and the SIJS petitions. The special immigrant juvenile status affords the ability to seek a visa or permanent residency for children who have been abused and who are in the United States. We would file these petitions and we would get stringent opposition from the Department of Human Services and from the district attorneys. District attorneys who were normally prosecuting similar abuse aggressively and at an alarming rate. And you could just, the discrimination was palpable to me. I didn't understand why the system would treat a child differently because they were not citizens. Because abused children are abused children, and they need help regardless.
One of the programs that YRJ introduced that I think has had some important impact on juvenile rights in Oregon is SchoolWorks.
The SchoolWorks program began in year 2002, and it was born out of individual attorneys' experiences advocating for our clients. And what they saw was a real need for education advocacy. So many of our clients are coming into the child welfare system and into the juvenile justice system behind in school with special education needs, and they found that there was a greater need to become experts in the area of education law and to figure out a way to support clients.
We've got the school to prison pipeline. Youth Rights and Justice are the experts in the field trying to prevent as many kids from getting into the system as possible. That's why the work is important to me. The children.
The next few years are critical years, I believe, in the life of many nonprofits who are important catalysts for change in our community. Times may be very difficult with funding being eliminated for some of the programs who provide both parents and children and other people with life-improving, life-affirming care representation, as well as other kinds of needs being met.
People are like, I want to give to a cause. Like, this is the biggest cause. You know, if we cannot help our kids, we have no hope for our future, and they deserve the absolute best. And youth rights and justice is the absolute best.